Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we have another interesting topic for stories. Let's listen. Story 1 from user Christine. I knew a girl in high school who was very sweet, but very shy. She had very poor eyesight, had some tough dental issues, was overweight, and lived with a foster family in a trailer park. She wasn't particularly close with anyone in school. I got the sense that she was just trying to make it through head down, get it done. But she was always kind, and I would talk with her a bit here and there. Mostly she kept to herself and seemed to want to just not be noticed at all. After high school, we lost touch. 20 years later, I get a Facebook request from someone with her name, but the picture looks nothing like her. Not even a vague resemblance. I accept because I'm curious. Well, it was indeed her. It turns out that she worked her way through, paid for community college, ended up getting a good job with a family company, and worked her way up the ranks there. She saved all of her money. By her late 20s, she saved enough money and had good insurance for eye surgery and dental surgery. She also started really focusing on getting healthy. She said it all boosted her confidence so much that she started traveling around the country. During those travels, she ended up meeting a great guy. She and her husband have a nice family, good jobs, and live in an affluent community. She acknowledged that her early years were tough, and she had such low self-esteem that she had a tough time making friends. She thanked me for always being kind to her. She ended with, "I may have blossomed late, but it was worth the wait." I'm so happy for her. We keep in touch. Story 2 from user deleted. The happy surprise? One of the girls I went to school with kind of came from the wrong side of the tracks. Nice kid, but her family was known to be pretty trashy, and she dropped out of community college to be a stripper. A few years later, she got her trash together, and now she's a corporate lawyer. The not-so-happy surprise? Dude was brilliant. He came from a wealthy family, he was good at sports, he was a hilarious person to be around. Even at the time, it was no secret that he had his demons. But he was just so damn smart that it seemed like if he could grow out of his adolescent angst, everything would be fine. Again, wealthy family. Bright. Good looking. Bro didn't exactly have to hit a home run to do okay in life. I believe he's working part-time at the grocery store now, but he may have gotten fired again. Or he might be back on disability. Or maybe he's working at Pizza Hut. It's always hard to keep it straight, because he doesn't tend to hold down any particular job for long. Honestly, if he weren't such a nice person, there might be a hint of schadenfreude there. But as it is, it's just tragic. He really was brilliant, and he really was a wonderful human being. But there weren't enough advantages in the world to save him from himself. Story 3 from user Nova on the Spectrum. Not friend, but high school rival enemy. She was one of the worst students in any class. She did no work. She disrupted the class material by getting into unwise arguments in the middle of class with people she didn't like, go off topic, call up people on her cell phone in class, and fight with people. She would get up and walk out in the middle of class, and had to have security called on her several times for attempting to fight students and teachers in class, to the point where she would just go, "Don't bother, I'll go down to the security office myself," after picking a fight with somebody. She picked fights with teachers just as often as she picked fights with students. This is when she bothered to show up for class at all. She was also one of my biggest bullies, but at the same time, I didn't put up with her trash. By high school, I'd been taught well to fight back against bullies. She openly used drugs, drank, and smoked, and she was very, very preoccupied with sleep. By the end of 10th grade, just about the entire student body, except for her little squad, who were as trash as she was, hated her guts. And even the teachers would openly talk about how horrible this girl was and, oh dear God, her. Which was honestly an asshole move on the teacher's part and did nothing to curb her aggression and asshole behavior. What sucked is that she wasn't this way until high school. I knew her in 6th and 7th grade, and she was a very sweet girl, was in the school's advanced vocal ensemble, and the band, got good grades, and was generally polite and well-mannered in class. 8th grade was when it all went to trash with this girl. and sometimes her nice personality still showed through. It was rare, but it was there. She also caught me reading a Diana Wynne Jones book and admitted she also loved those books, and wrote in my yearbook that she wanted to read all the cool-looking books she saw me reading. It was the nicest thing she ever said to me before she went back to insulting my intelligence and picking fights with me every damn time she saw my face. She disappeared unexpectedly at the end of 10th grade and did not return to school. In junior year, I overheard someone saying she had gone away to Virginia. After graduation, I spotted her at the food mart, and she actually smiled, waved at me, and said, "Hi, Nova." Because she was being nice, I said hi back and asked, "Where have you been? We haven't seen you since 10th grade. How are you?" It turns out she had dropped out of high school, but had completed her GED during her absence, and was now headed for a college degree. All traces of that nasty, disruptive, bullyish girl were completely gone, and the last I heard of her, she'd gotten her degree and was going on to higher education. I was really proud of her. The 10th grade geometry teacher had called her a lost cause in front of the entire class. Well, I guess she wasn't such a lost cause after all. Story 4 from user deleted. I think in this scenario, I'm that friend. Throughout my entire school career, I was advanced, including high school where I graduated with honors and an advanced diploma and went to a private college on a handsome academic scholarship. I was also a two-sport athlete and got along with every group of people. Everyone had me pegged for future lawyer, politician, or business executive. Something where I could use my intellect and likable personality to my benefit. A month before graduation, I started smoking weed and hanging out with trash heads. Disclaimer: I'm not making the claim that smoking weed makes you a bad person or unsuccessful. I'm saying the people I surrounded myself with and lifestyle I chose to adopt were not optimal. I left college after my first year, and after a semester-long stint in community college, I was done with education altogether. I got fired from a decent job for something that was truly not my fault, but it was for the best. I worked with a bunch of trash heads too. I spent a few months unemployed with no direction for the first time in my life. I started working in loss prevention for a big box store and really got along well with the cops who would come when we caught shoplifters, which was odd given my lifestyle, but not surprising given my personality and ability to get along with anyone. One day, I decided I was going to turn over a new leaf and be a cop. Everyone thought I was joking. I had picked up a possession of marijuana charge in my travels, and people thought I couldn't come back from that. Nobody took me seriously but me. I'm going on 5 years in law enforcement now. I have spearheaded many community policing initiatives aimed at reaching at-risk youths. I get out of my police car at Section 8 apartment complexes and talk to everyone. I use my discretion often to favor people who made a dumb mistake instead of ruining their lives with criminal charges. I still charge people, don't get me wrong, but I use common sense and remember who I was not that long ago. I love my career, and I'm glad to have the privilege to do what I do. Yes, there are still good cops out there, plenty of us, even if Reddit says otherwise. Story 5 from user Don't Want to Be on Reddit. In the last year of school, I finally decided to talk to this new kid. He came from a posh school just outside town, but got expelled for being part of some eBay scam where him and a friend got thousands of pounds. Now my school was a world away from his private school. Within a month, someone threw half a brick in his face. Not long after that, we became friends. I turned 16, dropped out, and cut off contact with everyone except him. He was too new to have scorned me with the social trash of secondary school. After school, it turned out he had a gift as a salesperson. He rose through the ranks at his first job in a tech store and got transferred to a Northampton branch as a manager, only to quickly quit and start selling himself as a web designer. He made extortionate amounts at this, once receiving 20k pounds for a very basic website. He'd given him a fake name and address, but his real bank details, pulled out all the money, and planned to sit on it as cash for a while. Instead, he moved to London and got another job in the company he'd left in Northampton. Okay, the outside, things seemed to be going well for a while. But when I visited, It transpired that he was living with a bad person, and they were both doing a lot of drug and drinking. The sides were sticky, and there was traces of the white powder everywhere. I fed her fish at one point, and it turns out that I'd picked up a small rock of crack and killed all of her fish. Now, this girl's boyfriend was also her pimp and both of their dealers, and when he visited, they existed in an uneasy friendship. But this guy hated my friend, and for good reason, as he came in one day and caught them having sleep. He proceeded to beat the trash out of my friend. When my friend got back from the hospital, he flushed the guy's stash, for dealing, so I can thousands of pounds, and smashed all of his more expensive stuff up. His Mac, large flat-screen TV, and giant lava lamp, which he actually threw onto the street for stories below, nearly hitting a passerby. He grabbed his stuff and left quickly. He moved back in with his mum for a while at their 1,000 plus pounds house, but they could never get along for long. She made him get clean before he could move out, and by that point, he wanted to get as far away from her as possible. He moved to Dubai and became a wine merchant. I have no idea how that works, as I thought alcohol was a no-go there, and eventually moved that business to the US, where it collapsed completely. This is where it becomes sad. He could never come back to the island where his mum and the rest of us lived, and had already been in America for a couple of years, so decided on gaining citizenship. It helped that his biological father was from Alabama. He soon found himself back on drugs in Tampa and decided to make another clean break at starting a business in New York. But this time, it didn't take off, badly. He ended up a couch surfing alcoholic, and then on the streets when he'd burned all his bridges. As it got colder, he told me he was going to California next as soon as he got some cash together. The big cash injection never came, and he started migrating slowly in that direction by making friends in the next state over and staying with them for a while. At some point near the beginning, her got tetanus and had a heart attack, and that was the last I heard from him. He then went silent for months, and no one could reach him. We'd always been quiet people towards each other, so to go 6 months without talking suited us fine. But then in February, we all received the worst news from his brother. At 30, he'd been found dead in Amarillo. This was a kid who'd been the number 3 at junior chess in the UK at one point, who'd taken piano from the age of 3, whose parents had bought him shares in Esso on his first birthday, who grew up internationally and was fluent in German and later Arabic, and had gone to a private school. All of that. But his family could never help him with his demons, and he was too proud to ever let them TBF. Story 6 from user Fake Newts. Not high school, but middle school. I was really close with this one girl growing up, even had a joint birthday party once because our birthdays were close together, and we had all the same friends. She was really sweet and gentle. We drifted apart as we got closer to high school. She started to hang out with some of the sketchier people, and I don't think her family life was all that good. We ended up going to different high schools, and I kind of lost track of her, aside from the occasional Facebook post. She ended up having a few kids really young as well. Fast forward to 6 years out of high school, I was working as an ICU nurse. One night shift I was on the code team, which is the team that runs throughout the hospital to resuscitate people who have gone into cardiac arrest. I was called to a code blue on one of the wards, and it was her. Myself and the rest of the team tried to resuscitate her, but to no avail. Turns out she was an IV drug user and essentially destroyed her heart as a result. She was in multi-system organ failure, all caused by heart failure, but wasn't a candidate for a heart transplant. She was only 23. I still think about her a lot. Thanks to everyone who watched to the end. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.